Good night, I'm Samuel, and today I'm going to speak about virtual machines and their core components, the difference between server roles and server features and examples, and about Active Directory and special activities, tasks that we can perform in it. About the first, which is a virtual machine. A virtual machine is a virtualized operating system. We have, for example, Windows, Linux. We have Mac OS, though with Mac is harder because it's closed software. So a virtual machine is basically you want to run multiple OS into a single hardware at the same time, and this is how you use the same hardware and divide partage its resources like processing power, storage, memory, network resources like network cards, and you partage them among the various virtual machine guest OS that you create. And there will be a software that will be responsible for managing the allocation of resources and how the process will be loaded into memory, and how the cores of processor are going to be used to form virtual CPUs, for example. And this software which allocates the resources is called hypervisor. An hypervisor is a software, a low-level software that is responsible for allocating to the minimalist kernels of each VM. So a VM has a minimalist, a reduced kernel for running its operating system, but some modules, some things specific of ordinary kernels are in the hypervisor, especially about memory management. So that, for example, the processes physically, because memory stores where processes are, what's to be written, what's to be done, and these parts of memory are managed by the hypervisor so that everything can be virtualized. So this is how virtual machines work. Another thing of virtual machines is network interface cards, but virtual interface cards. You make virtual network interfaces so the virtual machines can communicate to each other and be accessed, and a lot of times through remote desktop services, which is port 3389. And these are some core components for a virtual machine to work and to be accessed. And now the second theme is about server roles and server features. A server role is a central purpose, the central role of the server. For example, we have IIS role for hosting websites. We have DNS for being responsible for DNS resolution. We have DHCP for allocating dynamically IP addresses in a network. And usually in professional workloads, in high-load workloads, we don't typically assign much roles to a single physical server because it will be complex and processes can overwrite and interfere with each other, and we don't want that. We generally focus one server, and for security reasons, in one specific role to avoid attacks or adulteration of data and this kind of things. So this is a role, is a central thing, and together in a single role, a lot of features comes in. And what's a feature? A feature is a module to perform a specific task or service. For example, RDP, Remote Desktop Protocol, is a feature because once you install that feature in a server, it allows it for performing remote protocol for RDP. We have, for example, a lot of features in IIS server. We can have specific features about how websites are going to be hosted, and generally a lot of features which are modules are installed all together and linked to a specific role. An example of a feature is Windows Remote Management, WinRM. This is a module which enables your server or computer to make a remote session to another computer or server. So these are the differences. Usually role involves a lot of features, and it's more a logical and broader scope than a feature which is for a specific task. And the final one, the final concept is about Active Directory. So what is an Active Directory domain? An Active Directory domain is a network in which there are centralized servers called domain controllers, and these domain controllers are responsible for managing computers and accounts, which can be user accounts or service accounts, and credentials. And also a lot of other things are managed within domain controllers and servers that are configured all in domain controllers, which are responsible for configuring everything. We have replication services, we have identity services for storing credentials and kind of policy, and permissions. We have permissions for accessing files, everything managed through domain controllers. A specific task that we can perform in Active Directory is establishing security policies. And what is a security policy? It's something that you put objects, which can be computers or other organizational units, and you apply something. For example, you want all computers to have a certain background, which is the wallpaper configuration. You establish that policy and you gather all together all computers you want to have that background in one specific OU, and then you apply a policy, a group GPO policy to that OU, and then after you apply it, it's sure that all computers there will have that desktop background. So this is a very interesting policy in which it makes this work, and you can perform it. It's interesting because you can perform it to a lot of computers, and through group policy objects you can manage big networks easily. So these are the three topics we talked about today. We talked firstly about virtual machine and its virtual core components like hypervisors and network interfaces. Then we went to server roles and features and explained the broader scope of roles over features. And finally, we talked about Active Directory and some of applications we can use it, mainly on group policy objects. I'm Samuel.